The Australian wilds are famous for their tough conditions and the tougher flora and fauna that reside there. But what if we introduced a few successful animals from the ancient continent of Africa? Many scientists believe such a move would prove more disastrous than harmonious, and some foreign animals would exert significant pressure on the current ecological balance. So today, we've decided to highlight 5 such animals and the potential impact they could have on ecosystems down under. Without further ado, let's get right into it. 5. Wildebeest. These large and legendary ungulates are synonymous with the vast grasslands of Africa, where they roam wild and free, chasing the rains for better grazing. With over 1.5 million wildebeests engaging in the annual Masai Mara Serengeti migration, it's clear to see they are among the most successful herbivores on Earth. So, how would they fare in Australia? Well, probably too well. While Australia is not short of grasslands, it is short on the kinds of predators that could help control wildebeest populations. There are no powerful lions or hyenas to wrestle them to the ground, nor lightning-fast cheetahs and leopards that can run them down. With time, Australian regions hosting ever-growing populations of wildebeest would be at an increased risk of experiencing soil erosion. Furthermore, Australia is entirely in the southern hemisphere, which means only one rainy season. With only one rainy season and no access to grazing above the equator, wildebeest would be far less migratory, which would deprive grasslands of the time needed to recover and replenish themselves. Once the grass is exhausted, there will be even greater soil erosion. A lot of land in Australia has very loose topsoil that depends on plants and grass to keep it in place. Once that grass is gone, it is exposed, and other factors like the hooves of thousands of wildebeest will make the erosion even worse. To be honest, many of Africa's hooved animals pose this same risk, but we've chosen wildebeest because of its size and sheer numbers. But impala, buffalo and zebra would have similar impacts more or less. Destruction of grasslands would affect native grazing animals like kangaroos, which may struggle to compete. 4. Africanized honeybees. The next animal on our list may be thousands of times smaller than a wildebeest, but its potential impact on Australian ecosystems, and even the economy, may be greater. The Africanized honeybee is actually not a natural bee species. It is a hybrid of the European honeybee, Apis mellifera, and the East African lowland honeybee, Apis mellifera scutellata. These bees are famous for their adaptability, which comes from their European heritage, as well as their aggression, which is inherited from their African side. Together, these traits make the Africanized honeybee an infamous invasive species in many parts of the world, especially Europe and the Americas. Like many parts of the world, Australia uses the more docile and reliable European honeybee as the cornerstone of its $14 billion a year honey industry. The only problem with this is that European honeybees are vulnerable to assault, colonization, and parasitization from Africanized honeybees. When they take over a European beehive, they attempt to breed with the incumbent queen or introduce a newly fertilized queen of their own. This could ruin a hive for commercial purposes, especially if the new bees are unusable because of extreme aggression. In nature, Africanized honeybees also outcompete many native species for access to flowers, food, and nesting sites. They steal burrows, crevices, or tree trunks from other insects, birds, and even small mammals. This is a form of habitat loss that can push extremely endangered animals even closer to the brink. Of course, the bees also pose a direct threat to humans and large animals. They are notorious for their vicious stings, and large swarms are potentially lethal. They attack people, livestock, wild animals, and anything else they deem a threat. They can pursue you for nearly half a mile before relenting. It would take over 1,000 stings to kill an average human adult, but folks with allergies may be felled by 300. Many animals in Australia like grey kangaroos, koala bears, wallabies and wombats are much smaller than humans, so they would be at greater risk from stings. 3. Leopards are one of Africa's most iconic animals because of their beauty, cunning, athleticism, and power. Not even the lion can match the leopard for sheer killing efficiency. The big spotted cat has unrivaled stealth that allows it to come within a couple of feet of its victims, the mark of a honed assassin. While leopards' killing prowess fit in well with the bountiful prey animals adapted to look out for big cats, they would prove to be overkill in Australia. Many animals down under have not known a truly large terrestrial predator since the predator, Tasmanian tiger, or perhaps even megalania. Yes, dingoes are a menace to many, but the wild hounds are lapdogs compared to an animal that outhunts some of the world's most brutal killers. A leopard can easily kill any wild animal in Australia, bar the saltwater crocodile. Emus, rus, and even the fearsome cassowary would probably form the bulk of an Australian leopard's diet. Let's not forget that leopards aren't entirely terrestrial either. They spend half their lives in trees, scouting for unsuspecting victims and pouncing without a sound. Wallabies and koalas would be habitual snacks for the leopards too. Another thing that makes the leopard even more dangerous is the fact that it's nocturnal. It is even harder to see at night, yet the cat itself is perfectly adapted to a life in darkness. While some animals like kangaroos are active at night, others like emus sleep at night and would be especially vulnerable. With such easy prey, leopards may soon begin hunting for sport, killing animals, and stashing their carcasses for later. Such a thing would be a threat to endangered species. We also can't forget about other predators that simply could not compete with the leopard. Australia is home to dingoes, birds of prey, lizards, snakes, and crocodiles that pursue the same prey our hypothetical leopard would target. Over time, leopards would have an even greater impact on Australian ecosystems because of increased numbers. A leopard would have far fewer natural predators in Australia, and it would be a true apex predator. Cubs that would otherwise be killed by lions, hyenas, and cheetahs would reach adulthood and do even more killing. 2. Spotted hyena. The hyena is another legendary predator from Africa. In fact, it is Africa's most common and most widely distributed big carnivore. In Australia, these numbers and adaptability would make the hyena an even bigger problem than leopards. The spotted hyena is a tough, brutal, and durable animal, full of cunning and armed with the finest senses in nature. They are resourceful, adaptable, and can thrive in various environments. From semi-deserts to rainforests, and from the deep wilds to the edge of small farming towns, hyenas are masters of learning the land and conquering it. Like with the leopard, no animal down under would be safe from hyenas. They are large and powerful enough to bring down any animal, and they have the pace and endurance to chase anything down. Their jaws are famed for their awesome power. With a bite force of 1,011 pounds per square inch, they outperform lions and some bears. This extraordinary biting power is especially useful for breaking bones to get to some sweet, savory marrow. Hyenas also rely on keen senses to survive. Their noses can pick up scents from many miles away, and their ears never miss a thing. Their eyesight is superb, as befitting any successful nocturnal hunter. However, while a single hyena would be an undisputed apex predator, its ultimate power would come from being part of a clan. Hyena clans can have well over 40 or 50 individuals, all under the rule of a large female called a matriarch. Unlike in wolf packs, all females in a hyena clan may breed, which means a single clan may have multiple litters. These numbers, breeding rates, and a lack of natural predators would be a very bad thing for animals sharing environments with Australian hyenas. 1 elephant. We had thought of putting lions in the top spot, but their impact would not be too dissimilar to that of hyenas or leopards. Instead, let's look at how the dietary needs of African elephants would bankrupt Australian ecosystems. An African elephant needs as much as 330 pounds of food each day, and this food is in the form of leaves, figs, roots, and fruits. Most elephants live in herds of 10 or more individuals, which means they would need even more food on a daily basis. Factor in the fact that elephants can live up to 70 years old in the wild, and you start to see why Africa is the best place for them. You see, most of Australia is desert or semi-arid, and does not support the quantity and diversity of vegetation they need to thrive. The few wooded areas that could sustain elephants are already in a delicate balance with their own native animals. Introducing elephants would be a huge change to the ecosystem, and huge changes are usually trouble for finely balanced ecosystems. A large enough elephant herd can cause major deforestation within a few months or years, leading to food and habitat loss for countless other species. Deforestation also leads to soil erosion and land degradation over time. Elephants would also put a massive strain on water sources. Water is more valuable than gold in most of Australia, so introducing an animal that needs as much as 100 litres of it per day would be a big threat to the country's ecosystems. All in all, Australian elephants would be cool, but wholly unsuited to most of the country's environments for one reason or another. That brings us to the end of today's video. Thanks a lot for watching, and please take the time to like the content and subscribe to the channel. Also, ding the bell so you never miss an upload, and let us know what you think about this topic in the comments. All that's left to say now is thanks again, and keep it locked onto your favorite animal channel. Bye for now.